All right, good evening, class, and welcome to week number two. That is right, week number two of your 9410 class, which is your cultural heritage class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin. And what we were going to be doing today is actually going to be very short. This check-in video is going to be less than 10 minutes because I don't have much to say, but that's going to be actually very rare. Don't forget how to speed these videos up because, again, I talk very slow, and most of the time they are going to be longer than what we've got this week. But this week we're going to have kind of a shorter one, and the reason for that is you all are still in what I call those foundational modules. The first 5 weeks, really. The first week introducing you to cultural heritage concepts, the second week introducing you to cultural heritage preservation, and then weeks three through five, which are weeks where you learn about the three different types of cultural heritage: tangible, intangible, and landscape/natural. These are all our foundational modules, so I know that the reading is heavy and the reading may not be as exciting as what we're going to see a little later in the semester. So having said that, I am actually going to not say that much because I want you all to be able to concentrate on and sort of digest and get acquainted with and familiar with the information that you are reading at the moment. So, having said that, yes, this is going to be one of the shorter check-in videos. First of all, we're going to do the state of the course update, and the first thing to say during the state of the course update is that, yes, you all did very well on the syllabus quiz, and everybody completed the introductory discussion board prompt, which was the week one discussion board prompt. And so it looks like you all are well on your way. You didn't really have to think much during the first week. You will have to think during this second week for the discussion prompt for this week. And from then on, there'll probably be a lot more thought involved than there was in the first week when you were just introducing yourselves. However, again, I would say that you all are off to a good start. Really, you don't have a written assignment due until February the 12th, and that's going to be your visit to a cultural heritage site, and then your write-up and reflection. All right, so you really don't have anything other than discussion board prompts to worry about at this time. However, I would also say be thinking about potential cultural heritage projects that you might want to do in lieu of the final paper. And I have already heard from a couple of you who are planning to go that route, but I am hoping that more of you will plan to go that route. Again, you have until March 15th to make that decision. All right, so that's pretty much it with the state of the course updates. So I'm going to very briefly just talk about preservation, but really I'm going to let the readings speak for themselves because you get what you need to have in the readings. But what I am going to say is part of the reason why you have this preservation module up front so early and why it's so important is because stories get lost when cultural heritage gets lost. And that's one of the things that we as librarians or GLAM workers really, really want to keep in mind is that when cultural heritage is destroyed, whether it's destroyed by war or by climate or just age and wear and tear or by development or whatever, things get lost. You have history and culture that gets lost when those things happen, and people's stories get lost. And when we talk about humanity, when we talk about people, we really are talking about, when we talk about a culture, we are talking about the various artifacts and architecture and the stories that people told and all of these things, the oral history and all of this stuff, the folklore, the literature, all of these various things come together to make a culture. But when you have, let's say you have a book that's destroyed, a book that was destroyed that was culturally significant to a people, or if the elder dies and the elder was the last person who knew a particular story that was a story of wisdom for that culture or something of that nature, if an opposing army comes in and destroys monuments and statues, which has happened throughout history, when these things happen, yes, we are losing more than just something cool to look at. We are actually looking at the loss of human accomplishment. Okay, and so that is why preservation is very important, because when we preserve these things, we are also preserving knowledge, we are preserving wisdom, we are preserving history. And we are, in that sense, even just preserving humanity. We are preserving what makes these people who they are. And so I want you all to just kind of keep that in mind and sort of lean on that as, fodder for why cultural heritage is so important, okay? And why preservation of cultural heritage is so important. It's because once these things are lost, we never know. We never will fully understand what we've actually lost when we don't have it. It's just gone. And so I do hope that some of you will work in the cultural heritage realm, either within museums or archives or libraries. And I hope that when you do, one thing that you do is that you take care with preservation. All right. And I'm actually going to leave it right there. So we're actually even under 7 minutes, definitely under 10, even under 7. So that is very rare for me and probably will not be the case next week. But for this week, enjoy it. And again, I hope you sped it up and I look forward to seeing you next week. But do take some notes from the readings that you have this week and do just kind of digest that material and appreciate it for what it is. I am Dr. Jace. And do not neglect cultural heritage, because that is a disgrace. All right, I will see you all next week. And next week we will talk about 2 common APA errors. For those of you who have had me before, you've already heard the spiel about the 2 common APA errors. So after the state of the course update next week, you can probably just sign off. But that is it for me this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Later.